America is the great republic. It was birthed in freedom. It was birthed as a democracy where people's views were respected, people's votes counted, and the people who governed America did it on behalf of the people and were accountable to the people. It was a unique human experiment. Every other society was based on power and dominance and hierarchy, and the people were there as pawns of the ruling elites. But America had a different principle, the principle of liberty, right at its core. And we've just witnessed something over the past 2 years which has undermined the Great Republic. The Great Republic. We've seen the manipulation of its whole democratic process. It's been a systematic plan to undermine the democracy of America. People are so power hungry and so unwilling to accept a different perspective and a different group in power that they've been prepared to actually destroy the soul of America. It's tragic, really, because the scale of the manipulation is it's terrifying. It began more than 2 years ago when a decision was made by a group of people to create the conditions in which the 2020 presidential election would have a guaranteed winner. It didn't matter how popular Donald Trump was, how many of the American people would support him. That was irrelevant. They knew they put a foolproof system in place to win more votes than whatever Donald Trump could muster. Technologically and organisationally, they had a ground game. And even more ominous was that they'd taken control of the media. Not just the printed media, the television stations, but big tech as well. They were able to censor and stop any criticism of what they were doing. They were able to take control of the legal process. They put their people in the pivotal positions as attorney generals and as judges so that they wouldn't even hear the evidence in courts. I mean, the accusation is made against the Trump campaign that they have no evidence, but they have a mountain of evidence, but they can't present it. And where were the forces of law and order? Where was the investigation when all this started to unravel? I mean, there were serious accusations being made that the process had been manipulated, the democratic process. And yet the FBI didn't seem interested. The police forces didn't want to know. It was as if everybody from every angle had been covered. That's how systematic and vast this conspiracy was. Who pulled off this conspiracy? Who was capable of financing, organising, and having the sheer arrogance to undermine the democracy of America? You know, you can stick labels, you can say it's the Democrat Party or it's the liberal elite, but this is deeper. This required a vast amount of money, and we know that one person financed the whole operation in Pennsylvania to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. There are very few people on this planet who have the wealth to do that. They outspent the government. We know that the people who were picked and the organisations were picked cost millions, cost billions of dollars. The operation to stop Trump was financed on a vast scale. A unique amount of money was poured into the overthrowing of a president. It's so sinister and so evil. It's beyond our comprehension in many ways, and yet they've got away with it. At every stage they've managed to get away with it. And we've reached a point that even the grand old party, the Republicans, are no longer willing to take a stand against it. They realise the forces against them are so strong. People have looked to the president to do something dramatic, to call out the military, to mobilise a patriot army, but it's a bit of an illusion, because this plot has been set for so long, and the president knew about it. His allies knew what was happening, and they tried to counter it at every stage. I think ultimately they put their faith in the Supreme Court, but the Supreme Court came up short. Even the Supreme Court wouldn't touch it, because the organisations that were behind it were national. You know, they were global organisations. They were bigger than America, even bigger than the greatest superpower on the planet. And I'd love to name names. I'd love to say these are the people who are responsible. But on this medium, we can't say anything now. They've trapped us. It's like being in Stalin's Russia. They've made words dangerous now. If you speak the truth, you get deplatformed, you get taken off, you get blacklisted. I mean, well, I'm already that, but it's amazing that we've still got a little bit of spirit. But we're dependent on these big tech giants now to get our message out. We don't read newspapers anymore. We don't have the independent, the campaigning newspapers of yesteryear. We don't have we do have networks, but can we win an election again? If they can do this so blatantly in the most important election in the world, what can't they do? Who can stand against them? Ultimately in the Bible it says, if God is for us, who can stand against us? We've got to believe that righteousness can still prevail, that justice will still be done, that ultimately the people who are behind this huge hustle, American hustle, this huge fraud, ultimately they're not as numerous as those who still believe in America and in American democracy. And it's the people, we the people. I mean, it sounds a grandiose term, it sounds like almost naive now to think that we the people can overcome. But we the people have persevered for a long, long time. And America has thrived as a working democracy, the land of liberty. It's seen off every foe: fascism, communism, autocracy, monopolies in the past, groups that have sought to dominate America and take power from the people. They've been seen off in the past. But is this the time when America falls? When so many groups have been bought off, so many people have been embroiled in this whole conspiracy, that it can't be bought off. I mean, there's an air of pessimism in my voice, because I fear for the future of America. I fear that this great experiment in human freedom is about to come to an end, and only one force can rectify America: the people under God. Wake up and assert yourselves.